My name's Miguel Fiallos. I'm the Chief Information Officer at the Salvation Army UK and Ireland, and I have board level responsibility for IT transformation across the organisation, and that includes security as part of our remit to make sure that we deliver to our stakeholders in a safe manner, but also to our frontline. I've had so many roles. I think started in industry, but I moved towards the not-for-profit sector through a friend of mine who wasn't well with cancer. So I ended up putting my efforts to see how I can help initially Marie Curie Cancer Care, to see how we can put technology to good use to make sure that we can get the best out of technology to help people who need it the most. So that was an eye-opener for me. So that was British. And then after that, I went to, again, British Red Cross, where I spent a long career, nearly 14 years. And my remit was British Red Cross in the UK, but also involved some overseas travel and linking up with other Red Crosses around the world. Salvation Army operates in 134 countries, and all with their uniqueness in terms of the service they offer. Primarily, Salvation Army is a church and a charity. I'm solely responsible for UK and Ireland, and in the UK we have a large remit, and we support, just from an IT perspective, around 700 locations around the UK, and these could be care homes, where we look after people, elderly folk, life houses, where we look after homeless people, and we have over 600 core, which are churches. The churches will have activities from food banks to charity shops to child sessions. So it's a community creation, and all those areas have technology that needs supporting. And again, the distinctiveness of the Salvation Army, that the strapline is faith into action. So the people who run Salvation Army are officers, so they're an army and a church, and it has its challenges sometimes. To try and get people to do the right thing in terms of technology and technology adoption. We have many contracts, not only with the Home Office, but with health authorities as well. With councils, to provide services that they should be providing, but they're unable to do so. So with the Home Office, we run the biggest anti-human trafficking and modern slavery contract. We run it for the last 5 years, and that is to help people in need of who are in need of rescuing from the threats of modern slavery. And that is immensely satisfying when we can help colleagues or folks to deliver the service, but also to transform and change people's lives as well. So it's a great experience and a great feeling to be able to do that. Like most organizations, data is an asset and data is a responsibility. So we've been entrusted by various stakeholders, from the people who donate to us, from the people who we look after in our various life houses, care homes and churches, to make sure that the data is protected and secure. But also, like most organizations, you can't get away. You have a responsibility through the legislation. GDPR takes no prisoners, and it applies equally to any organization of any size. We have to protect the data from ourselves. And what I mean by that, because we have diverse stakeholders that work in the organization, and some still find it hard to really embrace that data is their responsibility as well. They're only concerned about providing a service. They want to help somebody, and one of the challenges we have is the culture element is quite hard to get across. The education piece to make sure that they understand the value of data and why it needs to be protected, and what happens if it goes awry, basically. So, and that's a constant challenge as well, to make sure that we keep educating our folk as much as possible, so they too take data privacy and data protection seriously. Yeah, I suppose key strategies, starting from the base level, I think, is making sure that you have your 1, 2, 3s lined up, your backup and your DR in place. So that's your most important thing. Are all our assets backed up? Can we recover them? Do we have a data DR, a business continuity plan in place? So ensuring that colleagues are lined up and sign up to the responsibilities associated with keeping that data secure. So that's the number one thing we do effectively. Earlier, making sure that at the next level, again, sort of the basics around making sure that our systems are protected, that we do regular patching on a regular basis, that endpoint devices actually have the latest bit of software, and ensuring that if there's any threats, we can respond to those. But also keep ourselves educated. The market is a fast-moving pace, this one, so we try and learn from other people as well, from other folks, from other organizations, from other charities as well. I think it's important, and we have a good network of charities. My senior management team are all involved in data security. They all have a responsibility, and we update each other frequently. So as part of our ongoing working directive, we meet. John or the team will present to explain what they're doing in that arena, so that they can be that we can all learn as well, because data security is everybody's responsibility. We try to educate. We have programs to educate people as well. So we have data protection essentials to make sure that people, colleagues are updated, and we mandate some of those courses as well. Policies are just equally important, but policies that have teeth, because a lot of policies just are not adopted. So you have to make sure that policy gets embedded, but also the services that we provide. A key component of that is, do they understand the policy? Do they know what it means? Do they know what to do if data goes awry or it needs to be reported on? So those are what I call and these are continuous improvement in terms of how do you deliver training to the organization. And we've learned over time that they've got to be done in small bits. We haven't, a recent elephant in the room is AI. Everybody's deploying AI, and all of a sudden, your data is exposed. In the old days, you were looking for a needle in a haystack. What AI allows you to do is find that needle right away. So if you haven't got the right controls in place, we're going to be in trouble. And organizations are already experiencing that. So this is the next big wave of thing that's coming, and it's already in the public domains. So how do we keep updated? How do we make sure that we implement correctly as well? So yeah, that would be my answer to that one. Yeah. Well, this is a difficult question. It's a tough one, but I think we recently implementing a product called Arctic Wolf. Is a great name. When you were telling the board this morning, and they love the name Arctic Wolf, and what that allows us to do there, this technology is great, because what it does, it aggregates telemetry from different endpoints, from your firewall, from your endpoints, from the Microsoft cloud, and any other entry points that from a mail filter. So what it does then, it gives you an aggregation of telemetry that identifies threats in real time. So you can tell if something is going on with your data, Arctic Wolf will identify it. But not only with that, it will, as John said earlier on, is a 24/7 service. So we would have created a playbook that would say, if you see this event happening, take this action. Something could be identifying somebody in our system, a threat actor, and then the automation of that, incredibly, we can do that nowadays. If we had to do that, we could do it as a team. It'd be too much for us to do. We wouldn't have the capacity or the capability to be able to do that. So somebody asked me the question. Our auditors are quite good. They said, "What questions would you like me to ask you?" He said. So I said to them, "Well, do you know where our data at risk is, and who has access to it?" So imagine your data stores both on-prem and cloud, stores of data, terabytes of data. We don't know who has access to it, but we know now. We just implemented a technology called Varonis, and what it allow you to do is it will scan all your data stores, and it will identify PCI type information, credit card information, GDPR, classify it. So all of a sudden you know where your data at risk is, and you know how to get to it as well. But also what action do you need to take. It's scary, because in the past you knew it was there, but you didn't know what the outcomes of that would be. So I think for me it's fascinating we're able to do that now. But the real work starts now. How do we then make sure that data is in the right place, has the right controls around it, but is an honesty type reflection of what the technology can do for you. and again, it's backed by people. People forget that it is the people behind the people who help the technology. The last one is it's called Mimecast, and it's a mail filter. So I asked my board this morning, do you know how many emails we had last year, and come in external emails? There were nowhere near it. 8 million emails came into our organization last year, and only about 20% of those were actually real emails. They were threats. They had malware in attachments. So it's the stuff they don't see behind the scenes. So what this is doing is actually phishing attacks, and phishing attacks do sometimes get through. But with having this technology in place, we can then make sure that our colleagues don't get any very little spam. But also we take drastic action. If we see something we're not sure about, we'll put it in a sandbox to try and explore. So those are the top 3 technologies, and you can see the interrelation between them is about protecting data, protecting the user as well. But it's also educating your teams as well to not feel threatened by working with third parties and by having external technologies. So really exciting times. We're just getting ready for the next wave, whatever the next wave we feel is around AI. It'd be interesting how these vendors adapt their technologies to protect us against the AI. That's a whole new ball game, and with trepidation we wait and see what will happen. Most organizations have small teams, particularly in our sector, but also they have no capacity or capability, and not be able to afford the right level of personnel makes it very difficult then to do it internally. So that's why we look to external partners, cybersecurity partners, where we can, to help us shape our cybersecurity response. The way that Northdoor has helped us to make sure we've got the right technology in place is by dialogue and conversation, but also by building trust, but primarily by the approach they take to ensuring that the partners they onboard themselves are very highly quality assured, and they're best of breed. So how Northdoor have helped us is by making sure that we have by asking the right questions as well, and probing and making sure that we have the right solutions for what we might need. I think it would be easy for some vendors will sell you anything. Here's the solution. What's the problem? What I particularly like about Northdoor is the collaborative approach and the way they actually try and tease out what is needed and what the challenge is. What problem are you trying to solve, and how do you meet it? So for me, it's important that they provide us that sort of information by what they're doing for other customers. So that would be that's one of the things I like about Northdoor, that they build relationships over time. So it's something that's not. It's been years of working with them and doing little things for them to earn their trust with us and delivering. So for me, they're a trusted partner, but also when we talk to Northdoor, we know they would have done a lot of work with a particular vendor, and that vendor would be triage. That would have been going through a lot of their internal hoops, and they don't recommend third parties unless they're absolutely sure themselves that they're the right fit for us. Yeah. We work with them in many ways, actually. From I mentioned earlier, third-party evaluations. Giving us some options about what's in the market, but really understanding what we need and what we're trying to achieve. But also what I like about North challenging us as well. I think I like the way they challenge. I see Northdoor as a critical friend, somebody who'll tell you as it is, and I like that honesty approach. And they deliver as well. They do what they say it does in the tin. I think we have a lot of partners. We have challenges with them. They are good, but I think you don't get the consistency of personnel you get with Northdoor. I think we find that people at Northdoor have been there a long time. We end up working with the same people time and time again, and they're very reliable. They will help you as well. And remember, we didn't have contracts lined up with them a while ago, and I reached out to our partner, our account manager, and Richard, and he helped us out with quite a few problems in the past. That's one of the things they do well with us, but also helps us with difficult questions, with big ticket items like, how do we, if we move to the cloud, how would that work? Design and implementation, making sure that we got the right design in place, the right solution, and that can be time consuming, but the effort is put in there, and it's not rushed. It's not about can we have the order tomorrow. It's actually let's work through it and make sure that we're happy with it. So a key component, and because they're a trusted partner, I think our guys work well with them, and that's often one of the most difficult things to do, is actually find the right partner they can trust, that you can work with. And in this industry, it can be very hard to do that. So that's why how we work with Northdoor. And that's why we recommend them. They're honest. They will challenge you, but they will help you as well. I think for me it was refreshing that I can pick up the phone to the account manager and say, look, can you help us with this? And we have a quite loose contract, a contract to help us, buy time from them as we need it. But sometimes that might be out of the scope of the contract. But you know what? You can tell a good partner when they'll say, look, I know we haven't got this bit covered, but we'll try and help you with this. For me, that's so important to be able to do that. And that's why we've been working with Northdoor since I've been in the Salvation Army, which is coming to 7 years. I think I engaged with Northdoor. My first bit of work with Northdoor was to do an evaluation of a bit of software that was home built at the Salvation Army, which was, it was never been looked at from a code perspective. So getting underneath the hood and making sure that they could ensure that the code was relevant, that it was secure, and that it was not a threat really. That's my first engagement with Northdoor, and then we worked with them subsequently. So that's why I would recommend them.